If you're anything like me, when you heard that Audi had introduced a Q2 into the range in Australia, you thought that they were hedging their bets a little bit and trying to have a vehicle in every segment. But a couple of years on, it's been incredibly popular and it continues to be so with Australian buyers. Now we're having a look at two facelifted variants. There's the 35TFSI and the 40TFSI Quattro. I'm going to hit some country roads and see what they're like to drive. Our pricing and specification guide details the breakdown, but let's take a quick look at pricing. The 1.5 litre 35TFSI starts from $42,900 before on-road costs, while the 2 litre 40TFSI starts from $49,900 before on-road costs. Audi has simplified its options by building packages that make the purchasing process a lot easier to understand. As such, you can add a premium package that costs either $2,950 or $3,050, or the style package that costs either $2,690 or $3,490.
I think the key with any prestige brand is that you sit inside the cabin and you feel like your money has been well spent and you're not missing out on anything. And that is especially the case with entry-level models like this one. So this is the 35TFSI. Remember, there's a 40TFSI above this. And yet, sitting in what is effectively the entry to the Audi Q2 range, I don't feel like I'm sitting in what I would call a cheap cockpit. It's comfortable, obviously, as you'd expect. It's got good seats, the visibility's good. But the gauges and the switch gear, the infotainment screen up there, even though it's not the latest or most up-to-date, it does work. This particular car is optioned with virtual cockpit. But the layout of the switchgear and the way everything's designed looks and feels quite premium to me. So I sit inside this Audi Q2, and if I'm moving into the Audi range, if this is my first prestige car, I feel pretty good about where my money's gone, and I feel pretty good about the car I'm going to live with for the next 3, 5 or 7 years, however long it might be, even though I haven't had to spend a huge amount of money. This is me sitting behind my driving position. Now, you might expect it to be a little bit cramped back here given the platform, and it is. There's not a huge amount of room. My knees are up against the backrest there, but I'm not dramatically uncomfortable either. There's enough room under the seat for me to put my feet, and it's not horribly uncomfortable. It's tight without being exactly that, horribly uncomfortable. Pretty basic back here, and I guess this is where you do start to feel that this is the entry level of the range. The plastics on the doors are a little hard. There's no USB ports, there's no air vents or temperature controls or any of that kind of stuff. But if this is occasional, and I think the kind of buyer that's buying this car is either going to have young kids back here if it's a second vehicle, or if it's largely you and someone else up front and that's about it, and this is occasional, I don't think it's an issue. So while it is compact in every sense of the word, it's completely usable for day-to-day stuff if you need to.
While the 40 is undoubtedly a punchier, more responsive and more engaging way to get from A to B, the 35 is by no means incapable of either doing the work you will require of it around town or tackling an enjoyable country blast. Heading out of Canberra onto typical Australian regional roads, both drivetrains worked well at any speed. If you genuinely enjoy your driving though, and you want to have a bit of fun occasionally, the 40 is definitely the pick. The ride is comfortable in both variants, with both soaking up nasty ruts in composed fashion, and there was little in the way of tyre noise entering the cabin. On a longer drive, either 35 or 40 has a way of settling into a relaxed lope, dealing with its surroundings in the way you'd expect of a much larger SUV. In fact, that's a strong point to the Q2's appeal. It does feel, both from behind the wheel and in terms of the way it behaves, like a bigger vehicle. The steering is excellent on a twisty road as well, with the Q2 delivering real point and shoot ability. Despite the fact that you might not go into the drive experience expecting that, it's well balanced, competent and tied down, all solid features for the intended buyer. On paper, the numbers look spot on for the technical specification and price point when weighed up against the competition. The 35 makes 110 kilowatts and 250 newton meters, while using an ADR claimed 5.2 litres per 100 kilometres on the combined cycle. The 40 steps things up a notch to 140 kilowatts and 320 newton meters, while using a claimed 7 litres per 100 kilometres on the combined cycle. How much power and performance you need in this segment at least is more likely tied to how far your budget stretches rather than how sporty you want your commute to be. Still, in the form of the slightly warmed up 40TFSI and the much more potent SQ2, Audi is covering as many bases as it can. Hardly surprising then that the facelifted Q2 is an impressive vehicle. Even the cockatoos like it, as you can hear. And I think importantly, it's really good value for money, and that's a big factor in this segment. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Do you like the style of the Q2? Would you buy one if you were looking at a compact SUV from a luxury manufacturer? Don't forget, hit like if you've enjoyed the video. Click on subscribe to the CarAdvice Drive YouTube channel so you stay up to date with all of our latest content. And of course, for the full review, go to caradvice.com or drive.com.au.